For the past 20 plus years, Third Street Church of God's young adult attendance and membership has been on a steady decline. Third Street was being melted by God for something great to come. He came to our young adult pastor, Keisha Patrick, with the awesome opportunity through the Wesley Innovation Hub. From there, Keisha began to create the team of current Third Street members to begin to form and recreate our community of young adults within Third Street. For many of us, we were hesitant to answer the call, but we listened and we answered. Attending the workshops, we learned valuable methods to begin building our young adult community. For the team, there were many challenges to overcome, such as getting over old habits and being available for the needs of this work. We allowed God to melt us all individually and form us into the vessels He needed for us to complete His mission. At the beginning of this journey, we learned early on to listen and to respond to the needs of the young adults in our community. We started doing this with just a simple survey of current young adults within our church and those within the community. From this survey, we found that the young adults were focused on bettering their lives in 3 different aspects: social justice, living their best lives, and church hurt. From these, we created 3 avatars: Tearful Tommy, Activist Amina, Jubilant Joy. We presented this to our church leadership and were received with great enthusiasm, but also some skepticism. Understanding that there were many older members with different views, the team used many of the techniques presented to us by the Hub and worked with the church members to move in the direction that God wanted us to be in the Shaw community. We listened to their suggestions and started our planning. We went forward with the approach of not trying to shape people into a mold that has been predestined for them. Rather, listen and try to adjust our outreach based on the needs of those around us. For us to hear the needs of the young adults in our community, our team stepped out of our comfort zones and began to reach out to the young adults right in the Shaw community. We had a simple dinner at a local restaurant and began to talk with the waiters and others that would listen. Just having conversations with them allowed us to see what young adults wanted from the church. And to those in the restaurant, it showed them that the church just down the street was willing to meet them where they are, and we could still have the same fun as them. Because honestly, throughout this process, we realized that young adults just want to have some fun too. Together a bowling outing with some of our current young adults, but also some that we met in the bowling alley. There were groups of individuals for a fun time too, and also resources on how they could be more active in the church. We also planned a game night at a restaurant within the Shaw community to reach those at the restaurant, as well as members that no longer attend our church. Here's a clip of us just having some fun. Our first major event was our Young Adult Weekend, which our church hadn't had in a very long time. We started with a TED Talk style discussion panel focused on the hashtag 1619. We put this event together with activist Amina in our mind and continued to make sure that the social issues that were extremely prevalent in our times were addressed. We also included voter registration as part of the event, which our current young adults took advantage of. It was a simple yet powerful way to encourage community within our churches. We partnered with others outside of Third Street and a few members within, which led to connections and outreach that we had not previously fostered. We were able to get members from within the Shaw community to come out and share their views and continue open dialogue. This approach allowed Shaw community to realize that our doors are open and that we as a church do care about many social issues that are happening within our country. Through these partnerships, we were able to begin our relationship talk series with Metropolitan AME. This also enhanced our social media presence, which allowed us to reach a virtual young adult audience. These sessions allow for open discussion among the single Christian community to explore the successes and struggles of dating in the 21st century. Our book talk on Just Mercy via Facebook and Instagram gave us another insight into the young adult minds and desires. The book talk concluded with a discussion at the Howard Bookstore, which allowed us to reach a different community of college students outside of 3rd Street. Through the planning of our Young Adult Weekend, we created the name for our Young Adult Ministry. Pivot. Power in Voices of Truth. For us, this name reminded us that we must pivot when necessary and recognize the power that our young adults have with our voices. A few of our young adults channeled activist Amina and participated in various rallies and protests that were happening in our city. During the pandemic, our young adults realized that we had to pivot our mindsets and focus on what was happening around us to show our community that we are concerned and we are engaged. At the start of the pandemic, we struggled like most to find ways to still reach our members and young adults within our community. We started with a virtual series on just being active. Samantha Salters, one of our current young adults, led us in a Saturday morning dance workshop, and we were able to increase our social media presence as well as continue to engage the young adults that we had already made connections with. As time went on, we continued to find ways to do our outreach despite the current pandemic, and we are still actively striving to connect virtually with our young adults. Reaching out to our college students via Zoom was another awesome outreach example of how we listened to our students' needs and responded. We are also actively working as a church to improve our social media services and our gatherings. The current pandemic has continued to melt and mold the 3rd Street team in ways that we could never have imagined. The current young adult members have stepped up and taken an active role in continuing our Sunday morning services. We have found creative ways to lead worship when there's no one in the building, as well as assist with technical needs of our streaming services and our social media platforms. We have also been called on to help the older members adjust with our social media platforms and Zoom in our streaming services. Throughout this experience, we have built a community within 3rd Street, one that is actively listening to the needs of our members and those outside of our church to better serve them and get them to know Christ. Our community is the cornerstone of our church, and our hub team has been able to show our members a new way of thinking and reaching others. We look forward to what God has in store for us in the coming days as we continue to hear and address the needs and concerns of young adults within our community.